like you are extremely judgmental for conservatives because you base a lot of your opinions on stuff you see and hear on TV. When was the last time you actually sat down and had fellowship with your modern conservatives?
At one of his comedy shows, Steve Hofstetter is going to dismantle a talking point many on the left have heard for some time. Watch.
I have friends who are conservative.
I'm very conservative.
Yeah?
I have a gay daughter.
Great.
My best friend is gay.
Okay.
You know.
So, are you every conservative?
But there's more of us out there than you think. Just because.
No, but do you vote?
Yes.
For who?
I voted for Trump.
That's my point. Hold on a second. Wait.
So who I vote for doesn't make me who I am, but you're judging.
Wait. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm not judging you personally. I am judging some of your decisions, and your decision to vote for a hate-mongering criminal, and to be. Are you proud of your vote for Trump?
But you voted for somebody whom I think is horrible because he was cheating on his wife when she got killed in the car.
Didn't catch that one either. Didn't understand it. Besides the point, we proceed.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. Just a moment. Can I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So, if I am to understand you, you are upset that Joe Biden has been accused of cheating on his wife, and yet...
He brings it home here because the hypocrisy is endless.
The thing that I truly think is that you are most likely socially progressive. However, I think that you, whether it is because you have decided you don't want to look into it too far or because you're listening to someone else, you haven't researched the differences in what some parties are voting for, what some parties believe, and so you associate yourself with conservatives despite many of your viewpoints having nothing to do with them. And so what I am making fun of in this set, and this is your original question, is that. If this is important to you, and it sounds important to you, it's important enough for you to raise your hand in front of 200 people and go, this is the thing I'm going to say, that makes it seem important, then please, after this, look it up. Find out what it means. And then see if it's still important to you. And that's how it works. And that's how we all change. That was the point of the set. The idea that the ideals that we were given to by our parents or the people we grew up with aren't necessarily the ideals that we have to keep for the rest of our lives. And compassion is important. But compassion doesn't mean being compassionate for hate. And that's where I draw the line.
And that last line was a bar. I want to be clear about something. This is a talking point that I have seen and heard out of conservatives for some time, that however you feel about Donald Trump, it's not that I associate with him or that I align with him. I just felt I had to vote for him first.
Every now and then, someone just does show up, especially when I'm in a comedy club instead of a theater or a rock venue, because they're just like, hey, what's there to do today? And if there's one thing we know about that side of the coin, it's that they do not do their own research. So when that happens, I try to be as patient as possible because I try to reach them. Now, if they're being combative, yeah, I'll hit right back.
Sure.
But there's a video that went very, very viral of mine on TikTok. Someone actually, weirdly enough, someone who reshared it got millions of views when mine, because that's how the algorithm works.
100%.
But it's someone asking me about how can I, refer to myself as progressive while being unwilling to talk to the other side of the aisle. And I broke it down very patiently and explained that, I have conservative friends. I don't have MAGA friends. Because conservative is a political and economic ideology. MAGA is a system of ethics. That's different. And so what I did, I was trying to reach this person, but more so, I was trying to give ammo to the other hundreds of people in the room who are going to go home for Thanksgiving and talk to their families.
Yes.
And I look at my social media that way too, is that I'm not going to convince someone that's coming at me swinging, but I would like to try to help give talking points to those who may have relationships with those people, if that makes sense.
That was Steve Hofstetter joining me on my podcast, The Rick Strom Show, which you all should go sub to discuss these very questions that continually get brought up on one side of the political aisle. New York Magazine's Ed Kilgore wrote, "It's as good a time as any to stop using the word conservative for this band of disruptive revolutionaries. Many of them believe America went crucially wrong not in 2021, when Donald Trump's efforts to overturn his defeat failed, or in 2008, when Barack Obama was elected president of the United States, or even in the 1960s, when America's family values were allegedly challenged, if not destroyed, but instead near the beginning of the 20th century. That's why on the far right, the original devil figures of the left in the MAGA version of history are Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt, the elitist progressives who seized permanent power for judges, bureaucrats, and globalists in pursuit of values like equality and social justice that were not part of the founders' vision of this country. The thing is, we had a long history of who Donald Trump was, from how he built his businesses, to the amount of bankruptcies that he suffered from, how he was sued for housing discrimination some time ago during a Republican administration, the way that he talked about his employees, according to a former executive at Trump Plaza, the way that he targeted, the exonerated five, put a target on their backs, calling for the death penalty by taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times, the way that he has dined with white supremacists like Nick Fuentes, elevated other voices like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, attacked the LGBTQ plus community, and has made himself open for business as the President of the United States as long as he personally benefits. It is a sham to say that you had no idea what you were voting for, or you voted for egg prices, because you were able to say, as long as eggs go from $8 to $6.99, I will go along with everything else, including the decay of this country just being expedited in real time. It's something that I don't personally buy, but they did when they cast their ballots. When Trump promised to make America great again, writes Ryan T. Beckwith, many Republican voters thought he meant the 1980s or maybe the 1950s, but it's increasingly clear he intends to take the country further back than that. Looking back, this article remains quite harrowing. Beckwith types, Trump has threatened to jail reporters, editors, and publishers who won't reveal confidential sources, to revoke broadcast licenses for networks whose coverage he disagrees with, and even to investigate journalists for treason. He's attacked the judges in his civil and criminal trials, as well as their families, while saying it should be illegal to criticize judges he favors. He has said he would be a dictator for his first day in office, calling for terminating the Constitution, and refused to concede his loss in 2020, leading to a deadly assault on the Capitol. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/tytsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.